All right, welcome to our first live in the wealth class. So today, before I started this beautiful, just kind of putting everything together, I said to Spirit, okay, I know I'm gonna ask questions so everybody could get their answers, and we are doing the wealth story, which I have found a lot of magic in it because I've had so many beautiful synchronicities. But what are we like? I want some secret sauce. I want to share something crazy awesome. And just as I'm preparing for this class, Spirit says to me, I have something for you. And then they even share with me a video. Now, I'm not in any religion. Everything of mine is already open. I'm very spiritual. I read all the great books from the Emerald Tablets to the Kabbalion to the Bible. So I read all the great books because I feel like underneath everything, there's just the vast secrets of the universe so we can live our dream lives. I feel like all the masters, Buddha, Jesus, um, Muhammad, I feel like they all, even Gandhi, I feel like they all walked in our world to show us that we're meant for so much more. So today, I created a printable that I'm going to share with you guys, even during our wealth class, about John 16, 23, 24. So if you read John 16, 23, 24, it says, in that day you will no longer ask me anything. So it's like God is talking to, I guess, I don't even know if it was David. Can't tell you because, like I said, I'm not an avid Bible reader. I kind of read off the top. Was he talking to Jesus? Well, maybe he was talking to Jesus. Anywho, he was talking to Jesus or somebody, and he says, in that day you will no longer ask me anything. He says, very truly, I tell you, my Father will give you whatever you ask in my name. So, okay, yes, it is Jesus expressing how to ask for the things that you desire. So he says, until now, you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask and you will receive, and your joy will be complete. So I love Gaia. I love Greg Brandon, somebody that you might want to look up. I also love Forbidden Knowledge with Billy Carlson. He's amazing. And Greg Brandon, in one of his talks, says that there was an actual area where Jesus expressed how to ask, which is what I've been talking about with living at the end. And when I share that, it's really hard to understand. Like, how do you live at the end? Like, how do you live as if you have what you desire? So, that hidden message that was not in the Bible, it says, ask without hidden motive. So, you ask from your heart, you ask from integrity. Like, this is what I want, and you're not doing it in a way that you're causing harm to no one. It's not like a selfish act. You're just wanting to live a better life. And if you're wealthy, you could bless your children, bless the world just by being wealthy. And then ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. So, what I notice is when I ask, Spirit in general, when I ask a question, I always get an answer. And when these things present themselves to me, I ask Spirit, okay, what are you talking about? Because sometimes these old texts and books are very complicated. Very complicated. It's like, what are you guys talking about? So then he goes on and says, be surrounded by your answer, meaning your answer is going to come to you. It's going to surround you. Any question that we ask, we always receive our answer. And then he expresses, be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness is full. And that's exactly what I'm trying to teach you all, which is not easy. When I hear people like, it's so easy, anybody could do this, all you have to do is think about it or visualize it, they make it sound like, I don't know. I remember the Secret first came out. In many ways, I felt kind of like stupid. Like, why am I not getting this? Like, so how do you live at the end? Like, how do you live in a way that you are actually living your intention and your desire? And I saw this in a movie where she's holding her idea, like her vision. She has magical powers and whatever, and she kind of pushes it out. So so you visualize in your persona, in where you are and how you are, but you push it outwards. And how you do that is the best way to do that is right before you go to sleep. So I will go to sleep in my room on my bed, and then I will get up spiritually and walk around my dream home. So then my home, I see it. I see the kitchen now. I see my bedrooms now. But then they transform into my new home. Because I'm sharing this personally because I want a new home. Because I kind of outgrew mine. I'm ready for the next. But I do this with everything. I had a client who was really negative. Not really a client because she just bought a printable. But she was like really dark Lala. And it made me very sad because I love to help people. And I feel like if they come to me, I'm able to like, hey, do this or try that. And I'm so loving and giving. But when they like take their negativity because they're in a bad place and they just lash it out on me, I'm very personal. I'm very emotional. So it kind of makes me feel bad about like, oh my God, maybe I'm not doing something right, or, you know, whatever. Ego gets in the way. And what I did that night was I went into that space in my meditative state and I saw her and I rescripted the day. I saw her in light. I saw her leaving me a positive review. I saw her getting what she desired because she wanted to communicate. And then I saw her in her energy of why she was upset. So she wasn't upset at me. She was upset because her beloved hurt her and he wasn't communicating with her. So of course, how does ego turn that around? Blame it on the person that says whatever, you know, me, I'm the perfect, you know. So it's not easy to do, but I find that the best way is when you're in your room and it's quiet. And you could even do this in the daytime if nobody's around. I found they're Bluetooth masks that people like use for sleeping and to kind of turn off all the noise and all the lights and nobody's here. So it's like I'm able to meditate, especially around midday. There's just something magical about 11:11, 12:12. You know, that energy is very powerful. So doing that and connecting in that space is just really, really magical. And then I'm going to let Sue Ann ask some questions. We are going to go next week after we do the 7 days of wealth, the wealth story. And I don't know if you've noticed, for me, it has changed a little. I mean, I still have like my main goal, but then I noticed that things are shifting. I noticed that from where I started, like, what is it? It's been like 27, 28 days now. I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, I'm like so lost in how many days we've been doing it. It feels lovely though. I love it. I love it. It's great. Yeah. But I've noticed my story has changed. I don't know about you, but mine has changed a little. Like I've added stuff and I've taken things out. So it's kind of nice to see how it all has unraveled, and just the synchronicities of spirit. Like yesterday, and I went to record, and right when I grabbed my camera, it stopped. So it was as if spirit said, this gift is for you. You can see I have windows in the back. It's like a lot of windows, which I love because a lot of the oils and stuff that I create, I energize in my windows. So there's a lot of magic there, a lot of crystals, a lot of symbolism, a lot of stuff. So I was creating oils for a client, and I noticed because my cat sat up on next to the window, and she was just like looking, and I was like, what is she looking at? So I noticed there were like dragonflies and moths, and I don't even know what kind of flying life was all around my windows, but it was like surreal. It wasn't like one or two, it was like a lot of them. And I was like, why are they so attracted to whatever's going on my window? And all of a sudden I get the chills, you know, like spirit saying, we're here, you know. And I was like, okay, this is for me. They're showing me, this is a confirmation, you know. So then I start to look, okay, what is dragonflies? Dragonflies is death, means a chapter of your life is going to end. It could also mean actual death, and it's new beginnings, you know, a new chapter is about to start. Transformation means you're completely changing, and then the moths. The moths also represent your shadow side. So it's like working and learning from your shadow side. Like, what is your shadow side telling you? Like your emotions, your feelings. So I feel like whatever was going on was preparing me for something that's to come. And I do get nervous because, especially when you hear like death, there's always something to freak you out. But I also feel that we can handle what we receive. You know, like I feel like in many ways, some of the things that happen to us, we kind of choose so we can have certain experiences. And I feel like that's where deja vu comes in. And then yesterday, with all of this going on, like so much going on, I go into the supermarket. I'm with my daughter. And it was almost like I had done that already. It was like I had already been there. Like what I was going through, my interaction with the cashier. And then she says to me, and I quote, "It's like you dreamt all this." And I looked up at her like, do 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 do. Like, what? She's like, "Yeah, it's like if you dreamt all this." Where did that come from? Why did she say that? How did she know I was feeling that way? So it's like, because we didn't have and then I started again to get the chills. So I feel like Spirit is telling me, confirming, okay, what you've asked for, we got it. It's unraveling, because I've gone through stuff. I mean, I don't know how rough it's been for you, but it gets rough. Life gets rough. So they give us these confirmations, these visions, these kind of like little, the cashier telling you something crazy. And it's just like incredible. What has happened with you? Like, what have you noticed or seen?
Like, songs that keep popping up. So I have to look up the song and like, oh, what is the song telling me? Like, I asked like my angels, I'm like, oh, I want to be more connected, and then they played "Eternal Flame" by the Bangles.
I love that song.
Close your eyes, give me your hand.
Yes.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm there. It was just really beautiful, and I've been getting like those energies, just like just trust, and don't overthink it, because like I do get stressed out because family,
Yep.
their energies, their eyes like.
Which is something else that I saw. So I work with Kabbalistic energy, which is like the divine names of God, which is the ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, and just like different letters. Like the ancient language was very powerful. I feel like they kind of diluted that language and gave us like per se English, so we could we don't have the power. That's why it's so much harder for us to manifest than per se Latin and Hebrew and Aramaic, like certain, and even beyond, there's other languages that are kind of lost languages. They have a lot of energy because it is not so much what we think, which every time I hear all these people telling you to control your thoughts, and I'm just like, there's no way we could control our thoughts. There's just no way. There's no way. We have like a million thoughts a day. And yeah, if you see that you get into that visualization where you're not really thinking, it's more like you're daydreaming, the dark lala, that's different. That's actually, okay, you're aligning with that negative energy, clear that out. But if you're walking somewhere and you have a negative thought because somebody said something nasty to you, that's a thought. It's not going to manifest. It's just a thought. It's when we say it. It's when we pick up the phone and call someone and be like, this happened to me. And then you're just sharing your story. And a lot of people get that confused. It's very different. I work with clients. They're like, I want you to script for me. And I do the script. And I'm just like, that's all you engulf yourself in. That's your story. But when they message me, it's not working, Daisy. I did this for 5 days. I don't feel anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And it's just like, well, you just kind of sabotaged everything that we worked on. because you just said it didn't work. And we never got that. Nobody ever told us that we can't say, because it's our words that create the energies. That's why it's called spelling. We're literally casting spells every time we say words. And it's so, so powerful. So as I'm sitting creating this new course, Spirit tells me that in the Renaissance painting of Leonardo da Vinci, the sacred names of gods are there. And I said, and I get chills talking about it. And I said, what? Now I'm blind. Even with glasses, I can't see crap. So I'm like, okay, all I see is Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and a bunch of guys. What's going on? Where is this at? And then they started to show me, there's like, if you start to really like look at these ancient paintings, especially Leonardo da Vinci was known for fighting religion. I mean, he was a gay man, and that was very taboo back then. So he hid secrets and symbols and energies and vibrations that the big, didn't want the people to know. That's why I know in the Bible it says that Babylon was supposedly taken away because they were sinners. I feel from what I channeled that the reason they took out Babylon was because they were so anybody could go to the Great Library of Babylon and study. Yes, there were servants, but even the servants were allowed to go to that great library and study. And if you read The Richest Man in Babylon, which is where our 7 principles came from, he learned, he was pretty much a servant, and he went, and in that great room, in that great library, he talked to one of the richest men in Babylon. And that guy taught him everything he knew. So it's like, we don't have that in this world right now. It's still hidden from us. Also, I feel like we are all being awakened. Because what would happen if we had power? We would help each other. You hear about people all the time. I follow this YouTuber who bought like a bunch of land, really inexpensive land, and created little houses on it, and created like a community where they grow their own food, and the rent's really cheap, So it's like, and you have to like to be part of that community. They go to make sure that the people are all good, and they go through kind of like not so much as like a background check, but they make sure that we're bringing good people into here because there's children, and it's almost very utopian. And I feel like people just want to live in peace and in harmony, So when Spirit shared with me this divine code and the frequencies and the divine letters and everything, I was like, wow, this is some crazy stuff. I mean, Greg Brandon, the reason he became so famous was because of his book, The Code, which literally talks about the hidden codes of the world and how we are meant to manifest whatever we want. Just like this that I shared here about John 16:23-24, they took out the how to ask God, because Jesus is expressing the reason Jesus came here, and all the masters, because I feel like they were all synchronized around the same time. Because if you hear the stories of Asia and their ascended masters, and you hear the stories of Africa, they had theirs. Like, I feel like everybody had their own form of their Messiah, and I feel like they came here to teach us almost like a higher learning, so we could live in harmony, so we could, if you think about how we're controlled, how we're so worried about if we can't pay the rent, if we can't pay the car, they keep us in that zone of we can't do this, we're not going to have time to take care of ourselves and do the things that is important to us, go on vacations, write an amazing book. So I told them, when they told me I was going to go hermit, I said, okay, but y'all have to support me, because I can't go hermit and live under the bridge, So I feel like that's why that happened to me yesterday. That whole, you know, feels like a dream. That was like surreal. So I'm excited about this. What have you manifested so far? What manifestations have you witnessed?
Um, well, mainly I've been trying to like really help my sister and mother because they're just so like my sister's ex has
Yeah.
been like very bad to them. So
Oh,
they've just been very low. So I've been like, the divine name has been so helpful.
yeah.
Because like I think almost like a month ago, my mother was like, "Oh, we're not making any money.
Oh,
I don't think we'll be able to pay for this, that," and her grandchildren, just like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to buy them this."
yeah.
And then, but like now she's like, "Oh, all of my crochet things are selling, and there's like more business, and
Beautiful.
like not just like little $5, $10 stuff, but like $100 stuff."
That's
And it's like
amazing.
so great.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about the divine names. Imagine there's 72 of them. There's 72 divine names. And then you have the 42, which is a whole other thing. I use the 42 names um to for my clients. And I go into this meditative state, and the whole point is just, I have a client, she overthinks it. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm not saying it right." And I'm just like, "Believe me, with my accent, I'm sure I'm not saying it right either." I was like, "Don't even think about it. It's all in that gaze. It's all in that you're visualizing, you're sending your energy, because I do that for my kids too, and especially my clients. Like, they come to me for that reason. And something magical, I don't know if you did, have you scripted for them and sent them in the mail? Have you tried to do that yet, the exercise of
Oh,
scripting?
yeah, I did the checks for my mom. And that's what I
Nice.
did. I did that one for her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Keep it safe."
Yeah, I sent them. I have like different clients that they're my on-call clients, my altar clients, and they'll get them and they'll say open on this day, because they send me, "Hey Daisy, I need this is happening on this day." So I run and I sit there and I go into the zone and I script it for them, and then I'll send it to them by mail to give it that physical energy, and then I write, "Do not open until this day," to just kind of allow that energy. And so when they open it, it's just like, okay, this is awesome. Like, you know, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I absolutely love it. I think that's all for today. We are gonna do more, of course, the wealth story. The whole point is the 7 days. Yeah, it's the 7 days, because I feel like it's the energy of seven. Every time we manifest, it's 7 minutes, 7 hours, 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 years. So that's like when you plan, you want to plan for. I won't plan for, of course, 7 days, but I do for like my next month. So I'll do the 7 weeks, and then of course 7 months, and then where do I want to be in 7 years? Completely retired. That's my main goal.
You can do it, I believe.
I am doing that for sure. So that's always fun. And the cool thing about this is some of the stuff, I don't even have it planned. Like, Spirit will be like, okay, this week, like, I know we're going to go into the 5 principles, which is very similar to the 7 principles, but I feel like it has more energy. And then the story behind it is beautiful. I love the story because, it's the father that sends his son. He gives him money, and he says, "I'm giving you this, and I'm giving you this." So he gives him money, and he gives him a tablet with the principles. I think he only gave him 5 principles. And he says, "Take care of this, because this is all you're getting, and I want to see you," which I thought it was funny, because he said, "I want to see you in 7 years, and I want to hear your story." And it's just really beautiful. And that's going to be kind of our next week, right after the wealth. So that's going to be fun and exciting. And
I look forward to it.
yeah, it's going to be great. This has been fun. I've never done 44 days, which is like, I'm proud because I'm here like every day. As long as Mercury retrograde behaves itself. So I think that's it. And
Okay.
I'll see you soon. Thank you for coming. You have
Yeah,
a
it was
beautiful
lovely.
night. Thank you.
And you too. Good night.
Good night. So that was lovely being here with you all. And I forgot to turn the lights on, so excuse my dimness. Um, I was able to engage with one of you beautiful participants, and her story was inspirational. I hope that you gathered that. This video is just for us in our wealth class. This is not going to be shared anywhere. You know, yes, you see it on YouTube, but it's a private video and it's only part of this wealth class. So, you know, overall, my main thing is ask without hidden motives and be surrounded by your answer. So you want to ask from your heart because you're asking out of love and being divine energy. Because when we're working with this energy that I'm sharing with you is divine energy. So when you're working with this, you're working with a divinity. And then the answers will come to you. You will be surrounded. Just like beautiful Sue-Ann got the songs, and I would probably have been a sappy mess because I'm very emotional. So Spirit will share with me like the whole thing with my windows being full of bugs and seeing that each one had a different representation. You know, the moth, the dragonfly. It was just like, oh my gosh. And as I'm seeing all this, they're telling me this is for this and that is for that. And then, you know, yes, life is rough and tough. And sadness comes to us all. And we go through things and we're unprepared. And maybe they're preparing me for some great sadness that I'm to go through. But the point is, maybe they're also sharing this with me so I could prevent this sadness. So I could ask Archangel Michael to send healing and protection over my children, over my grandchildren, to keep them protected from whatever is going on. Because our world is going through cosmic changes. There's a huge spiritual war going on and no one's even talking about it. No one's even aware. They kind of like, they want you to be like the horse with the things only looking forward. So it's easy to keep you in a poverty mindset, you know, that you can't have enough to pay your light. You don't have enough to pay your phone bill, you know, to do whatever it is you have to do. You need to get 2 jobs, you know. So the point of this class is to show you that you pay yourself first and then you have that energy. And I just learned a beautiful, it was the contesting gal. I don't have her here. I think it's Caroline. Caroline. Let me double check. Contest Queen. So look up the Contest Queen. Engulf yourself in that energy. Read all her books. Because if you ever want to manifest like winnings and being able to say, I want this and this is mine. If you like to play the lottery, this woman won the lottery numerous times. She won her dream home. They constructed her dream home. Like a bunch of the stuff that she manifested never paid for. Never paid for. And it wasn't just money, money, money. One of the things that she shares in a book, which I found inspirational, was that her husband, who was very hardworking, that took care, because in her era, the men used to work and take care of the stuff at home. Wow, the worlds have changed. Excuse me. I'm not trying to stomp on you men, but let me tell you, shit has changed. So her man used to go to work and maintain the wife and maintain all the kids. But she was also such a supporter because we women are muses. We women want to nurture, but we also want to be needed and loved and respected and taken care of. So when her husband wanted to go fishing, he always wanted to fish. And he would say, if I had a boat, I could go fishing. And she's like thinking to herself, well, I can't buy him a boat. She's like, I'm going to win him a boat. And if I'm not mistaken, that was one of her first prizes. She started looking around for contests because she was going to win her husband a boat. And she did. She claimed it and she won it. And she says it. I forgot what it's called. Claim it, something, something, something. I'm still studying her. Like I've only found out about the contesting queen for about 1.5 years now. Before that, a decade ago, I actually read The Prize Winner Defiance Ohio. And that's where I started contesting, which I think is crazy that I had never heard of the Contest Queen, but yet I read The Prize Winner of Defiance Ohio. And the reason why I found her was because I love, what's her name, the redheaded girl, and she did a movie, and and I fell in love with the movie. I fell in love with the story. I ordered the book, I read the memoir, and I just fell in love, and I started contesting and couponing. And that's how I got out of my state. This was over a decade ago. That's how I got that. And of course, Napoleon Hill with Think and Grow Rich. But I will say that we are introduced to magic when we're ready for it. When we're ready to connect with the magic. When we're ready to start working on whatever it is that we intend and desire. Because I remember in 2011, my cousin bought me the Kabbalistic book of the Divine Names. And I looked at it and I thought it was super cool. And a couple times, all great synchronicities. And I put it away. Forgot about it. So it wasn't until 2019 when I cried to God because the pandemic had hit us. I was furloughed from my job. The Spirit said, Daisy, you have had the answers the whole time. And you could go way back on my YouTube and see one of the first videos where I share the experience that I had with the Divine Names. How I had to go save my granddaughters. And I manifested like $10,000 in a span of a few hours. It was just like crazy. How I was working on my books and I was just doing a lot of little different side things. My YouTube channel, TikTok was coming, and I was just like, where do I go? And Spirit says, Daisy, revamp your Etsy shop. I've had my Etsy shop since 2013. They told me to revamp it. I will never forget the first ka-ching. I'll never forget it. I think I had in that shop in 2020, sales wise, I might have had 100 sales. I'm at over 6,000 sales in my Etsy shop. I'm working with best-selling author Sarah Jordan. I might be working with Greg Brandon because the stuff that I found, that secret that I found, that code that I found is crazy, my friends. So you just, when you start on this path, you don't know where it's going to lead you. And your stuff doesn't have to be magical like mine. You don't have to be a spiritual teacher. Your stuff could be like beautiful Suan family crochets. That's gorgeous. That's such a beautiful art. And she's like, she says, she's not selling the $5 or $10 stuff. The stuff that she's selling costs about $100. And she's just like freaking out. And Suan now has that power, that divine energy that she tapped into, that she knows that she could bless herself and her big heart to bless her family. So you could do that too. You could do anything and achieve anything you want. And if there's people around you, they're the dark lalas, just like I was explaining on our Zoom, how Spirit told me, Daisy, it was not even about you. She was going through this. Of course, I gave her my 2 cents. I told her you can expect, so I posted it on the review, because I want other people to understand how magic works. You can ask for something now and 5 minutes later say it didn't work because you just sabotaged your time. What's the point of lighting a candle if you're going to say it doesn't work? Stay on your now, stay on your course, and you are going to be aligned and synchronized with all your dreams, all your intentions, and all of your desires. And just like I expressed, we're going to go into the 5 principles. And as I'm doing this, I'm writing this because I want to share the story of the son that was gifted the money by his dad and the 5 principles. So I'm going to share that with you. Of course, I have the book. I have the audio. The audio book is on YouTube for free. There's no excuses for not listening to that book. Those are the principles that I taught here with you guys come from The Richest Man in Babylon. That book, I listened to it over and over and over. And just a couple days ago, and I'm going to close it with this story. So I love Neville Goddard. I'm probably always saying his last name wrong. Goddard. And he was taught by beautiful Abdullah. And I've been listening to The Imagination. I will have to look it up. I like to share all of this with you because I'm giving you where my a lot of my findings come from. But I'm sharing this with you so you too are able to tap into these energies and research them yourself. Awaken Imagination by Neville, and this was written in the 1950s. So the reason I'm reading that one was because I heard a new lecture by Neville Goddard, because everybody posts them now because everybody knows that he's really hot. So they want to, let me turn on the light. Much better. So Neville Goddard is really hot on YouTube. So then there's a lot of YouTubers that know that if they put a good lecture that maybe other people haven't put out, they're going to get like 1 million views, because he is someone that everybody's researching now, because we're in major, everybody wants to manifest. Nobody wants to live dire lives anymore. Everybody wants to grow and manifest and expand and live a rich life. As a matter of fact, last night when I was going, I don't watch a lot of TV. The only time I give, because I love TV, so I got rid of and I think it's Jim Rohn that calls, he has a funny name for the TV. I think he calls it the Dream Smasher box or the Dream Crusher box or whatever, because he says that a lot of people waste their time on television today, even more because they waste their time on social media. So I was listening last night. There was this show on Netflix, I think it's called How to Be Rich, or How to Access Your Rich Life, or whatever, something like that. It's on Netflix. And I got so much information because I saw what I tried, the video that I promise will be here this week, and I will message you as once that video is up. I will send you the link to the video personally in messages, and I will post it on the actual module day. So, you know, it talks about a lot of people living beyond their means, and how they kind of like become stuck, and then not realizing how easy it is to just make more money. We do a lot of excuses of why we can't make money. It's my job, I don't have the time. We build excuses. And I was talking today to my son, and I said, because it was really hard, like my mom always talks about how she helped us and this and that or the other, but the truth is my great aunt was the one who helped me with my children, and my mother-in-law, because, you know, they had, my great aunt of course was retired and she absolutely loved my kids, but when I had my second son, I didn't want to be without my kids and work, because I was working 2 jobs with my first son. I didn't want to do that with my second son. So they're only 3.5, almost 4 years apart. So when my second son came, I didn't work, and then right after that I honed in on my education skills, and I went to school and I got all these certificates that we need. I think we need a lot more now to be a Head Start teacher. So I was able to take my 2-year-old to school to work with me, and then my 5-year-old, 6-year-old went to school, and after school he came to where I worked. So I was always with my children. So I did that. So I hear all these excuses of why you're not making money, or why you can't do this, and you'll blame it on your kids, you blame it on your parents, you blame it on everything, when the truth is that if you ask, you shall receive. That's why that is a law. You ask and you shall receive. The answers will come to you once you ask them. And that's why when Greg Brandon shared this, it was surreal. So back to the story of Neville Goddard. And I promise after this I'm turning it off. Neville Goddard talked about this beautiful lady. She was in her early 30s. Her name was Louise. She was a model, and she was, he says, as poor as a church mouse. Apparently it was some kind of saying that they had back then, because I tried to look, I was in Google looking for the story of the girl that was as poor as a church mouse, and all of these things about poor church mouses came up, because apparently it's a saying. So anywho, I kept listening to it over and over and over, because again, since I channel, I'm able to pick up stuff, and I get to go into the ethereal energy and actually see this playing out. So Neville talks about this beautiful girl named Louise, young lady, woman, because she was in her 30s, who tells Neville, I have this huge problem. I don't have a lot of money. I just bought a house for my family, but I have this burning desire to go to Paris. She's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like if everything is in me, it's pushing me to go to Paris. I have to go. Neville, I have to go to Paris. The thing is that I only have enough money to be there X amount of days. So I'm not really even going to enjoy Paris. So I don't, like, she felt like it was a calling for her to go to Paris, but she didn't want to, because she was paying for the mortgage of the house where her parents resided. I guess she was taking care of her family. So Neville told her, you can't ask me to give you an excuse not to go or to go, because I don't believe in perspective. I don't think the way regular people think. Of course, Neville was taught by Abdullah. In the video that I shared with you, if you didn't see it, you can message me and I'll share it to you again, that I listen to over and over and over. I listen to that video almost every day, because every time I listen to that video, I get something new. Because again, I channel. So long story short, she goes to Paris. And she said, she told Neville, I'm only going for a week because I only have enough for this time. And I'm going to stay in this little, you know, small rinky-dink hostel or hotel or whatever. And I'm going to eat, you know, she's telling him like how she's going to be very frugal. So Neville explains that on the second day of her being in Paris, on the second day, she meets her husband. Excuse me, I talk a lot. So she meets her husband and they fall in love. The guy was super duper rich. He was, I don't know how many years older than her, but had never had, he says he had been married like 5 times, and he called him an offspring. He was never a father, never had a child. So she gave him a child. She gave him his son. And Neville explains that the son was identical to the dad. Identical. She says that, like, he explains, I'm saying he explains, like, he was looking at pictures of his son. He was looking at his son and then pictures of the dad around the same age, and it was like the same person. Splitting image of his father. So Neville taught her how to use, and I get chills, how to use this energy that I'm teaching you here, that I taught to you here in this live that we did through Zoom for our wealth class. And he says, and because of this video, I'm able to share how to project the now moment, how to share through your vision as you are right now. And I'm going to try to create a video series, like more videos, because I never understood this until this video. I never really grasped this until this video. And that's why sometimes we have to repeat. We have to take notes. We have to come back. Because if we want to live our best lives, we need to research. Because sometimes, just like in 2011, I wasn't ready for the divine names and they didn't show up again until 2019. Sometimes that happens. Today, I listen. But there's something about my age. So apparently, we go through different cycles in our lives. And the 40s is the cycle of experience and of wisdom. It is kind of like a divine gift. That once you reach your 40s, you become very wise. Of course, if you are open to it. Because if not, you could, you know, be the airhead that I was at when I was 20. Anywho, her husband they were in New York, and she became a master manifester. She was able to manifest not only for herself, but for people around her. All you had to do was ask her what you wanted, and she would go what I tell you that I do, which that's why this story is so like, oh my gosh, and I'm trying to find everything I can about this woman. I want to read the story. I want to find the book. That's why I'm reading all his books and listening to all his books, so I could see and hear, because there was so much more to this woman. He talks a lot about her because they were friends. So Neville explains that the husband's like, I mind you, this was in the 1940s maybe. $1,200 right now is still a lot of money for rent. Imagine that they were paying that in the 1940s. That's a lot of money. But he was paying for this for his factory. It wasn't like, I don't think it was an apartment. I could be wrong. Again, I have to listen to the video again. Anywho, and he's like, I want to pay half of that, and I want this space, and I want it in this place. But the only building that there is not even for sale, or it's not even for rent. And she's like, I don't want to hear what it's not. Just tell me what you want. And he says, I want to pay half of the rent that I'm paying now for X amount of square feet close to this place. She said, okay. So what she does, and I want you to focus to this, she places herself in that space. So she's in her room. Like, say I'm in my room right now. This is my couch right here. I'm here in front of you. And I get up, right? Visually. I will visually get up from this space. I'm projecting myself outward. And then I will walk to the building that he wants. And I will see the building being his building. I will see him getting the rent price that he wants to get. And everything just synchronizing. And I already work with synchronicity. And that's very similar to what I do for my clients. But now I'm doing it more astral instead of, I don't know how to explain it. And it works better, of course, when I do it for myself or I do it for my kids because I'm closer to them. So when I manifest for my clients, I go into their space. And I'll never forget, I did this for one of my uncles like a couple years ago, where she wanted me to feel the energy in her house. And she's like, Daisy, and she was gonna Skype. And I said, nope, I don't want to see your house. I'm gonna go to your house spiritually. And I didn't know anything about her house. I thought it was an apartment. So I go and I said, okay, I'm going up the steps. She's like, what steps? I go, outside you have steps. I said, okay, I'm in. And she's like, how did you know we had steps? I was like, I'm in your house right now. I'm like, don't interrupt me. So I'm going in her house. I know her kitchen's on the left. And I remember this just as like I was there right now. I go up to her room. I tell her where her room is. I tell her that she has an extra room, that she was thinking about it being the nursery. I talk about her bathroom and how shabby it is. And she starts laughing because she says, yeah, that she says the same thing. And then I walked all over her house and I told her, I don't feel anything negative. I just feel it's an old place with a lot of memories. And I explained to her, add some sea salts by the doors. She has divine sacred names that she puts over the angels. And I said, put that around your rooms, like wherever you feel low vibrational energy. And then I went on and I told her. And then, because apparently she had like a poltergeist type energy. So this is when I stopped doing this. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Remember, I went spiritually to her house. So then I'm not talking to her no more. And I'm sitting down in my room. And I see this very weird thing behind my TV. And I get chills talking about it. This was in one of my older places. And I'm watching TV and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? And it was like this weird, it was like, it wasn't human. It wasn't an elf. I didn't know what it was. It was like all white, but it has hands and feet. It was just very weird creature. And I look at it and I said, what are you doing here? And he tells me that he has nothing to do with me. That he's not even really there. That I'm just picking up on his energy because of where I had gone. And then I knew it was my client right there. It was like, that's my client. This is what's bothering her. And I said, where'd you come from? He's like, well, and he starts telling me that he's from some caves and I don't know where, blah, blah, blah. So he's just giving me the scenario and the story of where he came from and where she picked him up. Apparently, she had gone on vacation to some place and they went hiking and all this blah blah blah, and they went into some weird caves that had a lot of mysteries and stuff. This is why you don't do haunted craps. If you find out that something's haunted and it has energies and you're someone that can't handle certain things, don't do it. Don't do it. So I called her up and I said, guess what? I found your And I called it a poltergeist. It wasn't a poltergeist. Poltergeist is kind of our energy expanded, like our shadow side. You give it too much ego and it kind of expands, and that's what a poltergeist is. So I said, I found that creature. And when I explained to her the creature, she started crying because she says she's had dreams with it. And then I got really sick because of that lower vibration, kind of was attacking me, you know, and it was just not a good place. So this is why when I do this work, I no longer do that kind of work. If you have a low vibration and stuff like that, I don't deal with you. I don't, because I can't. My health and everything, I just can't. So I know that when you could spiritually leave your body, and when you visualize about certain things that you're trying to do, you could visualize it and spiritually go to these places and do these things and connect with those energies. So I'm not sharing you this to scare you. I'm sharing this with you because we can manifest whatever we want. Because I was able to help her send that energy back to the cave. And it took a lot of work and a lot of bedtime, because I had to go hermit a couple times because of that. And I told her that unfortunately it did have cords to her. I was very honest with her. This is why you hear the people that connect with, like, in human spirits and stuff like that, unfortunately sometimes so people that, you know, like the Conjuring and stuff like that, if you read the truth about all those stories, they don't end pretty. The Conjuring, the first part, didn't end with a lady happily ever after. She actually died of cancer, like the real story. So I'm sharing this with you because we are spiritual beings living in physical form, and we are able to tap into the spiritual realm anytime that we want. And this beautiful person, Louise, was able to manifest this for her husband because she projected herself outward. So what you do is you're sitting down in the energy that you are, and you see yourself all of a sudden get up and go to wherever it is that you want to go. If you listen to what I said before, since I'm trying to manifest a new home, it's easier for me when I'm going to bed, and it's also even more powerful because you go into the theta energy, theta, whatever you want to call it. So I stay in bed, I'm in my bed, I'm laying down, and then I get up, and then I go into my bathroom, and I look, and it's my bathroom, and then I kind of spiritually transform it, and it becomes the bathroom of my desire. And the bathroom of my desire has a shower, and also has like a Roman bath, and then I have double sinks. So, and then I come out of the bathroom, and then my kitchen in my dream home, my kitchen right now is to the left. My kitchen in my dream home is straight, like almost like center, and to the left is the living area, where I have this huge television, and I have an L-shaped sofa, and I have kind of like comfortable chairs. So I've created this home, and I go to sleep in my home. So then I'll go back, I'm walking around the house and say goodnight to my kids, which is something I do every single day. And then I'm going into my kids' room, and I see my daughter's room, and then it transforms into the dream home room. And I do the same thing in my son's room. But in this house, I don't have 3 bedrooms, I have 4 bedrooms. And the 4th bedroom is the guest bedroom, but it's actually my granddaughter's bedroom. So then I go into that room, and it has just how I want it. 2 bunk beds, 2 televisions, 2 entertainment sections with all of their Nintendo stuff. And then I'll do this walkthrough because it's something that I do every night. I go through my house, I say, good night everybody, I love you, check my AC, check my doors, and off to bed. So I do this spiritually. And then I come right back into my room. But this time, when I'm coming spiritually into my room and getting in my bed. Okay, so let's close this. So you push your energy outward, push it out as you. So you can't live in the end outside of yourself. And if you listen to this, I'm sorry, I'm like on top of the camera. Sorry, guys. So it says, ask without hidden motive. Be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire that your gladness be full. Meaning, you have to, of course, be grateful and happy and excited. Think of your excitement living in the desire that you wish. Think about your happiness living in the outcome. And then it says, be enveloped. So it's you. So it's your energy. So you see yourself, and you see yourself spiritually in your life, however it is. If it's the dream home, if it's the dream job, whatever it is, you see it. And not only do I do that with my dream home, I do that when I want to revamp the day, just like I shared with Suan about that, negative review, how at the moment I was upset, and then when I went into rescripting my day visually, spiritually, I saw what she was going through, and then I saw her in the light. And even though she's not gonna change the review because I commented on it. So even if she wanted to, and she can't because I commented on it, I saw her in my rescript. She messaged me grateful. She messaged me that she actually did receive the contact, that she had communication with her beloved. So I hope today's video brought you a lot of insights. And like I said, rewatch as much as you need and get ready, because this upcoming week is going to be crazy. And I am so happy and grateful that you're here. I hope I see you in the magical class, because that's going to be intense and it's going to be more energy work. So you're going to see us do some fun magic, real magic. I'll see you there. Namaste.